Guys, welcome to the IPTL Up and Downs. That's right, guys. This is the first game. Don't remember anything that happened earlier. It's going to be ASD from FXO. Very far bottom right corner, guys. It's going to be Root's very own Leia opening up in this game one.
All right, so Leia versus a Terran. Not too surprising of a pick there for me. I was a little bit more surprised. Leia, of course, very, very strong in the Terran versus Protoss matchup. Extremely confident in it. Half because of her Colossus micro. But hey, you know what? At the same time, at IPL 5, she managed to take down Nurchio 2-1. So Leia has shown that she has the capacity to take down the best of the best players. And ASD is one of those, man. This guy, very aggressive Terran player. We'll have to see what he pulls out here on Ohana to face off against Leia.
So you guys are in a treat, man, getting the last couple of games available from ASD. Again, him leaving along as well, Whale from FXO.
Yeah.
So
those
players
really
are gone.
sad to see Whale go, actually.
But always a nice surprise to see somebody come out and play a couple more games. So I want to see how well he's going to do against Leia. Can he take her out and, of course, get FXO up in the series? We do have Leia starting out, moving that probe, moving across the middle of the map. We'll see what she has in store for her opponent.
All right, so it's Ohana, Terran versus Protoss. It's not as crazy as some maps, say, in Tombed Valley, where it's just, like, so hard to attack against Protoss who opt to go for Storm because they can just throw Storm downs on the ramp, and there's those nice little huggy areas that come out on the sides. In this situation, you're not nearly as well defended, and what I'm saying with this is you look at the sides of the ramp here. See how they're equal with the top of the ramp? They don't hook out at all or have any jutting edges for you to put Templars on and storm towards the back of a player's army. So it makes it much more assaultable to go up against a Protoss or a Terran who's on 2-base. We see a lot of actually big 2-base pushes out of Protoss on this map. MC, for instance, displaying an incredibly strong Immortal-based push against various Terran players who can drop as many as 4 bunkers. It just doesn't matter. They drop a bunch at the front, you go on the side rocks. They jump a bunch at the side rocks, you can push up the front. It's really, really hard to hold those style of pushes from Protoss players. But at the same time, it's a big map with wide sides that you can push down these alleys and come in for drops from the back, so we'll have to see if ASD opts for anything like that.
Well, Leia did come straight into the main. She set a probe a little bit on the later side than you would normally see from a Protoss player to get that scouting information and get in the main to make sure they're not going for a gas. So she's going to go ahead and assume that her opponent, being aggressive ASD, most likely is going to be able to give a gas because she followed up at 2 double assimilators at home, which is going to allow her to move up in tech and thus be able to defend anything that might be coming her way. ASD is falling up into a factory very quickly here. There is a potential to go into Hellions. I know they're actually really popular in Heart of the Swarm right now. A lot of Terran players on Wings of Liberty, though, do enjoy going for quick Banshees. Unfortunately, we don't have a second gas quite yet for ASD, so it won't be Cloak, and if it is, it's going to be really late.
Yeah, I don't know if Hellions is going to be the call here. I mean, he hasn't started any sort of reactor. 450, of course, you can start up those Hellions, but well, he's going to only make 1, and we should see a starport here any second. Maybe an armor even get some battle Hellions out. Of course not. This isn't quite yet Heart of the Swarm. But what's really interesting here, guys, is that ASD has built a bunker, and he does not intend to build a command center. There it is, starport dropping down for FXO ASD, and he will be laying on the aggression. Curious to see if Leia can manage to scout this. She did, by the way, make that Stalker. Yeah. But now there's 4 Marines in the bunker, so it's a lot harder to get up there.
With the Zealot and the Stalker, you can still make your way in there to get the scouting information, but you do risk the chance of potentially losing that Stalker. A lot of players that are Terran that will do this fake will actually take an SCV down to their opponent's natural and try and build an engineering bay just to keep the Stalker and Zealot there, because he's just going for a straight-up aggressive attack here. Just trying to fake any type of expansion that could be happening here.
Yep.
And Leia, unfortunately, hasn't popped into the natural once again to try and get that scouting information. So she's playing in the dark, moving straight into a robotics bay.
All right, we've got a Hellion drop inbound here from ASD, an extremely interesting choice on this map. Conveniently for Leia, she did build her structures over towards the right-hand side. She's going to try to get up the ramp right now, but ASD coming down gets in a little bit of hull damage there. Even, look at that, poking in twice, getting in some nice damage. Leia, Stalker down to 12 hit points, 7 hit points. Will run away from there. She actually doesn't mind trading hull damage for Marine damage. I don't know how that one worked out for her, honestly. There's 2 orange Marines and a medevac on the way, but here comes the drop out of ASD. This could be poised to do a lot of damage, but I love Leia's building positioning here.
Yeah, looks like she's going to have a Warp Prism on the way, which means she can circumvent this whole entire aggression and go to the natural, or she can warp in behind her opponent. It brings a Warp Prism to the middle of the map on the right side, and then try and get a nice flank in with the Zealots and try to crush the army very quickly. Behind this aggression coming from ASD, he will be able to get a command center up. thus creating so. But here comes the aggression you can see in the bottom left and the bottom right.
When you look at that, Leia, she's going for Colossus drop style of play. Yeah, you can't even call it Colossus drops. I feel like you should call it like you're playing jacks with a Colossus. You kind of bounce the ball and see how many Marines you can pick up.
Leia drops, man. Well, we do have ASD moving forward. Is scouted by Leia. Leia sees it with that Warp Prism. Hellions running straight in the natural. There is, I believe, one probe there, which will get cleaned up in the natural. But the drop is occurring immediately here for ASD. Can he focus down anything? And it looks like he's going to get a couple of... One Stalker here gets Sentry. No, the Stalker is actually microed pretty nicely.
Nice
and
force
Hellions
field.
get denied.
Wow, a beautiful play there out of Leia. She just saved herself a lot of damage, likely. Only one worker killed so far. Marines dropping on the low ground. Only getting in shield damage to the Warp Prism. Force field is about to disappear over here at the natural expansion, but at this point, with the Colossus in position and everything, Leia's going to be just fine. She does have a pylon over here to the top left-hand corner to be able to warp in units during all this. And here's the thing with Warp Prism speed, she's actually going to be able to chase down these Hellions and kill them off now.
Yep, and this
One's dead.
This is textbook Leia. This is what she does to the best. Having Colossus drops available to her, just able to pop in as much damage as possible. And if you're not defending correctly in your main or natural, she will snipe your probes as well. So with this Warp Prism, she now grabs map control and can essentially do whatever she wants at home. And she's going to try and deal with this medevac. A little bit too forward on that, but the Marines are right-click too.
Not the best control there out of ASD. Leia with the Colossus drop on the low ground. We're gonna have to see what she can manage to do with this. There is a Viking about to pop out, which is gonna make a world of a difference here in fighting off this Warp Prism. Leia needs to get out of there with that, actually. It's already lost all of its shields.
She will. She has gotten her natural up behind all this, and if we could pull up the units tab real quick, just get a feel for her if she's got any far ahead. No, not really. 37 to 36. May have missed a little bit on with the pro production. And there was only one worker actually, I believe, killed by ASD, so he didn't really get much damage done, but he prevent production at that natural with the Hellion just sitting there. So overall, it's a good win for him to open up with that strategy.
All right, Warp Prism continuing to float around. Managed to pick off another unit there just a second ago. I think that was a Hellion. And Marauder and a Marine in the bunker. A couple more additional bio units hitting the ground. But yeah, not too much damage quite yet with this Colossus. She is pretty persistent, though, I gotta say. Leia's the type of player, she will actually harass you with her Colossus drops until many, many, many minutes into the game. You can see Extended Thermal Lances on the way right now. Double Forge about to wrap up here. We should see those upgrades start momentarily.
Yeah, Leia actually kind of has to keep the aggression happening on the middle of the map because of the follow-up that she's gotten to the Double Forge. As you mentioned, moving to Thermal Lance. She's just moving in pure upgrades right now. So having the Colossus on the field just keeps ASD back at home. And you can see here, as she will be dropping straight in the natural once again, ASD is forced to deal with it by keeping Marines and Marauders there. Has a Viking come on the right side, though. Need to be on the careful side here with your Warp Prism. Will be getting away, only taking a little bit of damage in the actual HP. So nice little micro there at the last second.
Oh, but it's going to get away.
Whew,
it did have to cut to the right there. That was really clever out of ASD, actually. Having his Viking position to the right, the Stim Marines came down from the left, and he kind of forced the Warp Prism to juke back towards the Viking, but didn't manage to pick it off. And, well, as they say, so close yet so far.
Yeah, if that Marine had actually gotten 2 hits on Leia's Warp Prism, it was dead. Gone forever. For life. Twilight Council now on the way for Leia, just moving up in tech, and now will be able to start whipping in some units as she's adding some more gateways slowly into her main, and her economy is starting to boom. But at the same time, ASD is moving into his third own command center, really starting to turn out some units as well. We'll be getting an armory to keep up with the upgrades as +1 is finishing up, so both players gonna be a little bit on the stall side for a little bit. But about a minute and a half, both players will have the availability to really start getting aggressive in the middle of the map and keep map control.
All right, so chrono boosting out charge right now is Leia. She's also about to wrap up 1-1. So she's already got a Twilight Council, so can start 2-2 immediately and has almost the gas to do so. She's trying to get in some additional damage with this Colossus right now. It has at this point accrued 10 kills, of course. So they're poking quite a bit. Overall, only 2 workers killed for each player on this game so far, though. Colossus seeing these units move out. Now here's the thing, with this Warp Prism speed, Leia's actually going to be able to harass this the entire way across the map.
That is so sick. And she actually negates some Marauder damage as well by picking out at the last second.
Like, we'll look at the health of the Colossus. When you see it drop out, it'll be pretty full.
Yeah.
Let's actually take a look at it right now. You can see it's got almost all its shields.
No damage really being done to the Colossus. And essentially the only thing that can really do damage to the Warp Prism is the Viking if it gets within range. The Marines won't get in range ever, even with STEM, because of that Warp Prism speed. So,
forgot to land it, actually.
Oh, he just had it sitting there.
Yeah, as ASD, he likely wanted to land this factory at the third base.
Well, Leia on the way to powering up here. 2-2 has been started finally. Charge lots about to finishing up, which will make her have the ability to engage on any Marine Marauder that is coming her way, especially with the clutches in the background. We should be able to crush any army, so she's feeling very safe grabbing that third. At the same time, we will have ASD grabbing his third very soon, or at least I would expect him to. There we go. It's actually starting to float away, heading up to the top right corner as ASD starting to grab map control. Finally gotten Leia off the middle of the map here with that War Prism, so he could hold on to Zelnaga. He's actually have both of them at the moment. Leia should contend for that, and she certainly is at the moment.
All right, so ASD is prepping to take his third base right now. Command Center is actually landing, but his upgrade's a little bit behind Leia. She has 2-2, about halfway done right now. ASD has yet to start his +2 armor. He's turning out quite a number of Vikings, however. He is making them 2 at a time, so that's going to take him up to 9 here in just a second against, what, 3 Colossi? 3 Vikings per Colossus is very, very nice indeed. Leia on the other side of things, however, is beginning to transition. She's got Storm on the way, a couple additional gateways to churn out more and more High Templar. I'm surprised none of them are on the low ground. It's going to give Leia a great opportunity to take a 4th base, actually, pretty quickly, because she's not going to have anything to really impede her ability to move back and forth between these 2 bases in order to defend against any attacks like the one ASD sending down the middle of the map right now.
Yeah, ASD's wanting to get aggressive. You just saw that scan happen. He clicked on the units as well and saw only +1-1 finishing up. Although if he stims, it gets ready to engage. 2-2's going to finish up, and Storm is pretty close to getting done as well. It's a little over halfway done. If Leia can just wait it out
a lot of time
longer, she should be okay. But a drop is happening in the main, which will allow for the main force to go into the third.
All right, here's the attack at the third. Leia moving forward with lots of charge, lots. Vikings getting in a ton of damage, though. Not so much anti-air here. The Colossi falling pretty quickly in the main base. It looks like it's being held off overall. The attack will be thwarted, but will all the Colossi be lost? No, one does remain. Marauder's going to try to focus it down. It looks like they will. Nice victory there for ASD. At the same time, in the main base, now going for the forges, and it looks like he's going to get one of these as well, but +2 did manage to complete.
All right, so the lack of anti-air really hurt Leia there. Lost a couple of her Colossi, but overall holds pretty nicely and doesn't take real economy damage. She does lose that on that upgrade, but hey, you can get away with it. She's pretty nice in terms of where she's at. She's going to have 3 to a little bit quicker here than ASD will, because ASD's actually only on +1 armor at the moment.
ASD reinforcing across the entire map, though. I don't know about that. He threw away a number of units there. Leia may be poised now for a counterattack with 2-2. Especially with all the gateways that just finished up, and she's going to have Templar. I mean, she needs these to have 75 energy. By the time they cross the map, they will, but she's going to go for a 4th base. I would not be surprised to see her at least beat her chest a little, you know, get out there. You kind of make it seem you're more scary than you actually are. Show your Templar, show your Colossi. Say, I have every tech. Do you have Ghosts? No, you don't. You're just getting your Mobius reactor. And that will make ASD a little more hesitant to leave his base, but at this point, Leia is in a commanding position.
Yep, and with her grabbing that 4th, it allows her to establish more economy, be able to move the probes that are in her main into that 4th, and then at the same time just wait for a +3 to finish up. And that's all she's waiting for before she does get aggressive. Even with that Blink Stalkers finishing up too, she will have all the tech that you were mentioning available to her to really make some plays. So at this point, just getting a nice amount of forces out, as she is pretty far ahead right now. 173 to 148 supply. Ooh.
That was nice. So cute out of ASD. Can I take him home?
Take who home?
Well, like, you want to take a bunny home?
I actually am not a fan of bunnies.
Why
so
not?
I will never take them home. I had hamsters when I was younger, and they died pretty quickly, so I'm afraid I'll do the same thing to a bunny, and I would feel really bad about doing so.
You should feel. You killed a hamster?
No, it wasn't. It just died. They're really hard to take care of when you're 7 years old.
Yeah, I actually had a Mexican black king snake.
Ew.
And it died.
Jeez, man. Well, ASD's going to try and kill off Leia here.
Oh, that was such a good segue.
Yes, thanks. High five.
You had to make that audible for the audience. All right, guys.
Gotta be careful, though. +3 is about to finish up. I like how she has 2 Zealots here, just really trying to force a stem.
Yep.
Forcing ASD to turn around. A couple of EMPs do land, and they hit a couple of the High Templars, but moving forward right away, Zealots charging straight on these Marauders. A big storm, a second one hitting, not doing as much damage, but this army is crushing ASDs.
Oh, that first storm was very nice, though, getting in a lot of damage, and this storm is killing everything belonging to ASD. Leia looking so good right now, is poised to take victory here in game number 1. There it is, GG.
Rushing the army. And +3 wasn't finished up for ASD, though. That's why he can actually compete with that army.
4 seconds remaining.
4 seconds. She hit the timing perfectly, getting her upgrades out way quicker than her opponent, really helping out Leia there over time.
All right, guys. Well, ASD will then be knocked out. Leia's going to secure things 1-0 actually for Team Root here. And now FXO is going to have to bring on a player. Now we were talking, you know, maybe a Zerg, ASD, moving into retirement, come in, fill in as a Zerg player maybe. But no, it's going to be Lucky actually who's brought in now to face off against Leia.
All right, guys. Lucky versus Leia on Daybreak will be the next match for you. Let's run to a quick commercial break, get the replay set up, and we'll be back.